First off, thank you, Paul, for doing this. When I reached out to you, to conduct this because I know there's a lot of questions out there that people want answers to. I knew that you would use a no nonsense, no bullshit approach. You'd be direct and you'd ask what people want to know. But for the people that are out there to get a genuine answer, that's why I'm here. And I'm going to give you an answer. After a year of having 2 videographers and editors on staff with full salaries, I estimate that to be just under $200,000. The camera equipment, the audio equipment, the lighting, the computers, the servers, the laptops, all the equipment that it takes to produce the content for this show, I've estimated that we've spent so far about $80,000. The extra plane tickets I have to book when my videographer travels with me, the extra hotels, the extra meals, the extra stuff we do solely for the purpose of getting a little bit more content, the trips we take to deliver a watch when I could easily send a $150 FedEx label, those extra expenses I account for, I want to say anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000 for 1 year of content. That puts my total around $475,000 to $480,000 that I will spend for 1 year of content. The point I'm trying to make is, how much have I ever charged anybody to watch my YouTube channel?
You don't know the questions that I'm going to put to you tonight, but my guess is you've got a damn good idea.
I've read a lot of the comments and I have an idea.
You know the subjects. Okay, so the first question that a lot of people have asked me to ask you: was that article planned and planted by you, by Marco, by you both, or by anyone associated with you in a deliberate attempt to create hype and to fool the watch people around the world?
Simple answer is no.
Okay. So the next question that I wrote down was kind of linked to that first one. So forgive me because you've already given us your answer. Be honest with us, wasn't this basically made up by you as you went along, pretending that these moves were planned when they really weren't? And if that's true, why should the viewers believe anything that you say now or during this interview, if that was true, but you've just told us that it's not?
We didn't think it would happen so fast. We absolutely did not anticipate 8 hours after turning our social media off that an article would come out accusing us of taking off with everything. We honestly thought it would take about 2 days for chatter to start and about 3 days for it to really catch fire. By that point, it would have been Thursday afternoon. We planned on releasing a video Friday evening with the charity and with just the charities and the initial message involved. It developed into much more than that based on what happened in the first 24 hours. And that's kind of what changed the whole parameters of this blackout. I wouldn't say we were having trouble controlling it, because the idea was, when this took off, we wanted everybody talking. We wanted the world talking. The idea behind getting this kind of exposure was to catch the world's attention.
Yeah.
Again, it was just, we had a time frame of it taking this long and it took this long. So what we anticipated in doing in this amount of time, we had to quickly kind of revert, because the following morning after that article come out, here's where things kind of got tricky. Marco got a call from the police the morning after this article came out, and he called me actually kind of freaking out. We planned this event. We planned the charity work. We planned the outcome. I'm not going to give that up just because things took fire faster than we anticipated. It was too early to call it quits, but Marco actually wanted to call it quits, and I told him no.
The viewers will want to know why Marco isn't here with you tonight, because at first it was said that it was Marco's idea, and then there seemed to be a contradiction. So can you clarify whose idea it actually was, because people are a bit confused?
The idea was born from Marco. It was a very, very premature idea. It was a very basic idea. Once he explained to me kind of the end goal, I took over and constructed it. We were doing all this outside of running a business, outside of traveling, outside of doing content for social media. So I'm the kind of person that when something sounds good like that, I take it to heart, and I will take the lead and take the reins on it. So it was initially Marco's idea, but I'm the one that saw it through all the way to the end. And when Marco called me the following morning after talking to the police, I am the one that said, no, we are not stopping this. We are going to continue this and ride it through and see what goes on.
Why did you do it?
Social media is what built us and what got us to where we are. I have seen over the years people try to go out and do something good, and it gets this much exposure. But the littlest bit of drama, the littlest bit of conflict gets 10 times more exposure at 10 times the pace. So by adding the sudden drama to it, captured the exposure we were looking for, which was that kind of that shock and awe. And
talking of your staff, how are they feeling about this, and how have you managed them?
Kind of when it was going on, when you completely close up a business, and the majority of my sales guys are on commission only salaries, I can only imagine they'd be hesitant, because that means a week of no pay for them. I make it a point we take care of our staff. And it wasn't like a guy on Valentine's Day that goes and buys his girlfriend flowers on Valentine's Day. No, we give them flowers all year round, so that whenever Valentine's Day comes up, it's nothing different. From my understanding, they all understood that. They were okay with it. But I think my staff knows me well enough to know that I would never leave any of them high and dry. That I think at one point during all of this, I even told them, worst case scenario, guys, if this blows up in our face, this is the true end of our business, I would sell my entire watch collection to make sure they're taken care of.
So what's the story with AJ?
He was in the first video when I hired him, along with the rest of my staff. But he was never in another video. He came in and he talked to Marco and I liked his demeanor. He was soft spoken. He laid it out that he had all these things going on in his life, but he had a passion for watches. He wanted to learn the business, or his travel schedule conflicted with a normal full-time work schedule. So he was only able to come in on Saturdays. And just like any company, you have a boss. Dylan was his boss at the time. And things were well. I have all of our text messages saved from any conversation we've ever had of him praising the opportunity to be there. I did see his most recent comment where he left it on the God Watchers Instagram, talking about I forced him to leave his wheelchair out in the hall and some other stuff. And if someone just couldn't let it go and they needed me to pull all the video and the audio from our cameras, which we have 4 of them in our office, and we have cameras upstairs, I could pull them all and show everyone that AJ was treated more than fairly. And on more than one occasion said he doesn't like it when people don't allow him to walk. He insisted on walking through the halls. He insisted on walking into our store. AJ was treated fairly. AJ was welcomed with open arms. We let AJ go because the gentleman behind the God Watcher Instagram showed up into our store and then immediately went to bashing us on Instagram. It was found out that AJ was communicating with him, and I asked him to see the messages, and he erased them all.
So sure. At what point did you realize that everything was backfiring badly? I think you need to choose your words very carefully.
Until we posted our video with the charity work, as well as the behind the scenes stuff. Up until that point, I honestly did not think what we were doing was.
Are you saying, Anthony, at that stage, perhaps what you're trying to say, and I'm not helping you out here, because you're clearly trying to think of the right words. Are you saying that you wasn't aware of the damage that you were doing to other dealers? Is that what you're saying?
That is true. Yes. I wasn't. I was not aware of the effect that I was not aware of the effect that it was having on actual dealers and their business, because no dealers had reached out to me talking about the effect it's having on their business.
I'm not enjoying saying some of this stuff because
Sure.
I'm looking you right in the eye and it's kind of embarrassing. But I have to be honest and say that I felt that video was a bit of a car crash, even a last minute attempt to pull yourselves out of the frying pan. So what is the truth behind that video and the whole charity question? And was it just a fake smokescreen? Now, I know that you've already answered that to a degree. Give me your thoughts on that video, because it was removed. So you obviously wasn't happy with it.
Honestly, I was okay with the video. I was not happy with how malicious people were getting. And when people start pulling up records of members of my sales team's families' addresses, I have a problem with that. I have a problem when people are maliciously attacking me, my friends, my staff, my business for speculation, for a YouTube video. I knew that once that video came out, after 10,000 comments, 9,500 of them being negative, I knew that there would never, us moving forward, you know what, the damage is done. At that point, I realized the damage is done. There's no taking that back. The only way we can grow and move forward was to remove that. Did anyone ever call any of the charities and ask them what day and times we were there? If they did, they would have realized that on Monday morning, we were at the Dare to Dream Foundation. On Tuesday morning, the day our video dropped, we spent 4 hours working at the North Texas Food Bank. Nobody did the due diligence on the good that we were trying to show. They pulled up my lawsuits. They pulled up the negative stuff that they could find. Take time away from social media, go give back to some charities. That was supposed to be the end of the video. Given our social media status, people come to us all the time wanting from us, not wanting to give to us, but they want what we can give to them. People that I've actually dealt with and talked to face, I had a good feeling that they were not going to buy into this hype. But given how much pressure there is behind social media and behind all this, I wanted to see it. And you know what? That was a foolish decision for me to put that on video. And I'll admit that. And it could be argued that it was foolish and it was hurtful to test friendships, but
we were actually concerned more for your personal safety and your well-being. And I think that's what hurt a lot of us, in the fact that you felt we had to prove ourselves to you, when in fact, in all honesty, if I'm frank with you, it was probably the other way around. But I guess you accept that now.
We've got all these different moving parts. It is a lot of stress on one person. And, you know, that probably wasn't the best decision to make. And I don't always make the best decisions.
Maybe you underestimated the power of your social media, because, you know, I had dealers in England, you know, we're thousands of miles away from Dallas in Texas. And I had dealers calling me saying, Paul, you know this guy, what's he up to? I've got people pulling consignment watches out of my shop, you know. So I don't know. I mean, giving you the benefit of the doubt, maybe you just underestimated the reach.
Please hear me. I am not justifying what I did, but at the end of the day, nobody got hurt. And it did bring awareness to some stuff. I mean, how many people out there were just loosely, the positive that I'm looking at from that, if there is one, is how many dealers out there do not pay enough attention to their customers? How many dealers do not spend enough time building their name, connecting with their clients, building that trust? The one thing I'll argue is that's only from the perception that people on social media were getting. Every single one of my clients called or texted myself or Marco or my sales staff, and they asked us all the same thing. They're like, what's up? Should we be worried? None of my actual clients freaked out. And the reason we told no one was because you tell one person and it leaks out, it doesn't have the same effect.
Did you inform them before that happened that this was happening?
No, nobody knew.
It's about the 5 oyster perpetuals and the charity proceeds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a promise to donate 5% of revenue to charity in July. Is that still happening? And if so, how will that money be distributed?
Real quick, the charity watches, as I mentioned in my video, we've already sold 2 of them. We still have 3 of them up for sale. Yes, starting in July, 5% of all of our profits are going to be donated to those. They're going to be divvied up at the end of the month, or calculated up, and then divvied evenly between those 5 charities.
Your bank accounts being frozen.
Well, closing down and freezing an account are 2 different things. Also, that's what people need to understand. Is people are saying my bank accounts are closed. My bank accounts aren't closed. They're very much active. If I'm the president of a bank where I see this guy almost every single day, if I'm not in the bank every single day, I'm talking to someone at the bank, queuing up wires and confirming wires. It didn't even shock me that night when I logged into my account and saw that they were frozen, because I just assumed that this article's gotten out. It's everyone in Dallas is talking about it. It's standard protocol when you see something like that come out. You have to take action, because how bad would it look on the bank if all these guys really, if this were a real scenario, and I had to the tune of $500,000 or $600,000 in my account at the time, plus another 400,000 coming in. How bad would it look on the bank if they took no action and allowed me to continue to steal everyone's money?
Yeah, it was the bank doing due diligence. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And by that evening, my accounts were unfrozen.
Cool. I spoke to producer Michael ahead of this interview.
Okay.
I want to ask you about your version of events with him. Is it true that he pulled out of a collaboration with you after this happened?
It is. I spoke with Michael at the airport. Marco and I were actually at the airport headed to LA, and he explained to me, he asked me, he's like, have you seen the comments that are going on? I hadn't yet. And Michael told me, he's like, this is not, my platform is not a platform for negative stuff. It's a platform for positive inspiration, showing like the fun side of stuff. Yeah. And that because of the amount of hate and bad publicity my video was getting, he did not want to post a video or do any kind of collaboration at that time, in fear of the negativity spreading from my channel to his channel. And I 100% respected him for doing that.
Are there any private individuals, any watch dealers that you currently owe money to, or who are requesting that they are paid back immediately? In other words, do you have anyone chasing you for money that you owe them right now?
Not a single person.
So on that subject, can you tell us more about your $2,000 investors and where they currently sit? Again, let me be clear on this. Are there any investors out there right now who are requesting their money back? And if so, when are they going to get it?
The word investor is being used very, very loosely. Being an investor would mean that you have an equity stake in my company. You have decision-making abilities in my company. You have a stake to receive dividends. You're going to make money on my company. None of that's true. What it is a $2,000 membership to a Facebook group where you get special perks. You pay a fee, you get access. That's it. It's a transaction. There's no investment. We sold north of 300 memberships. I would say 130 or 140 of them never got the opportunity to join the Facebook group. Some which weren't even on Facebook. I had this idea. I threw it out there. I didn't plan it all the way through. I was just excited.
I was going to say, because they would say, well, that's your problem, not theirs.
And I understand that. To answer the question, people have been requesting refunds.
I've had about maybe 5 or 6 people write to me alleging an issue with you. Mm-hmm. But when I've gone back to them and asked for evidence, proof, I've actually only had 2 people come back to me. One was a gentleman who you'd already paid back. Another is a gentleman that I believe you're paying back on Monday. So for me, there's 2, but the question that I asked you was, how many people out there are asking for their money back? And do you know that off the top of your head? And if you do, when will they get their money back? Because that is a big question that, I really got to ask you.
First off, Anyone that's requested a refund, my apologies, it's taken a delay. Everyone that sent us money is going to get their money back. On advice from my mentor, we are actually going to close that group and I'm going to refund everybody.
Anthony, what you're telling me is that anyone that's invested with you, their money's safe.
Their money's more than safe. If I have to pull it up, this is the account that was established for the building fund. As of the time of this video right now, there's 287,000 in that left in that account, all of which is going to be refunded. And we're going to close that group down. My mentor just said, he's like, you're going to come out of this. You're going to come out bigger, better, and stronger. And when you do it, trust me, you're not going to owe anyone a dime.
In an old video, you once said that once someone has lost your trust, they've lost it forever. So why should people feel differently about this situation?
I still stand by what I said. If you lose my trust, then it's gone. But when I say that to someone, what I mean is if you're my friend and you betray me, you've actually hurt me. You've lost my trust. But if you have a YouTube channel and you put out a bunch of free content and you never asked me to pay for that content, you've never asked me to drop your email so I can spam you with ads and collect data from you. If you've really never asked anything of me at all, more than liking and subscribing and sharing to maybe win a Rolex or something, and you put out a video or you do something that maybe I don't agree with or I don't like, I could be mad. I understand that. I could be hurt. I could be disappointed. But at the end of the day, you didn't physically hurt me. You didn't steal from me. You didn't betray me. Your content wasn't what I wanted to see. And I can get over that. And if and I mean this as sincere and wholeheartedly as I can say that, if there's a dealer out there that my actions seriously hurt your business, reach out to me and tell me how I can make it right for you. It's been said, and I've never said this, but people have said this. I've changed an industry. Look at how many dealers. There were a few before my time that were big, but very, very, very few. Now, over the last 3 years, you've seen more dealers in the watch and diamond industry take to social media, and not just take to social media, but take to it more seriously because of what a 2-time felon fresh out of prison 4 years ago was able to do in a matter of 3.5 years. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's social media. And there's one thing I enjoy doing is taking dealers and showing them social media. And I'm not even gonna point it out or call out who all I've helped, but people would be surprised at how many people are now doing what I do based off advice I've given them.
People like Roman, Nico, Eric, and many others took you into their circle and they trusted you. They did business with you. They took you under their wing, kind of, if that's the right expression. Do you understand now that they became embarrassed by what happened and it was a difficult situation for them? And ultimately, what's your message to them today? Finally, to put this to bed for them and for you and between the lot of you.
I've actually already reached out to those guys, and I did it on a personal level. That those guys mean something to me more than the social media image out here that we all have. That's why my apology to them was not filmed. It was not put out here on social media to be broadcasted. That was something that was sent to them to be personal. Yes, they were extremely annoyed. I caused them a lot of inconvenience for a week on their business. I interrupted their vacations. I interrupted their trips. Whenever I tell those guys, and when I put this message out here, that I did not do anything I did with the intentions of hurting anyone, or especially them, I would like to think that they believe me. I think they do. Talking to them privately, they all kind of had the same message back to me. It was like, you're young, you're stupid, you're new in the business, you had a little bit of fame, you made a little bit of money. It happens. It happens to a lot of people.
Obviously, there were mistakes involved. Look, we could go on forever, Anthony, but
Right.
I've written down, as I said, something that I wanted to read to you. If you're happy for me to read it out, I would love to. I mean, firstly, Anthony, I just wish that you'd have asked me about all this before it happened. That's what most younger watch dealers use us older dealers for. Firstly, if I was your advisor or your mentor or whatever you want to call it, I'd like to tell you this. Just be you, because I think that actually inside, people are not seeing the real you. I think the YouTube world of watch dealing, or I should say, I think the world of YouTube and the world of watch dealing shouldn't be confused. They are, of course, crossing over these days, but it's got to be done with professionalism and with consideration and with care, because like it or not, we all become influencers with a responsibility. If there's anyone that you ever owe money to in the watch business, pay them back now and pay them in full, because any unhappy debt that you have in the watch business will be a stain on your reputation. No one should ever deliberately bring this industry in disrepute. It's bigger than me and it's bigger than you, and no one has the right to mess with other people's businesses. We should all remember that this is an industry fueled by passion, and never overlook or fail to appreciate the power of that passion. This is some people's lives. Most importantly, always treat others the same way in which you want to be treated yourself. Anthony, that was my personal mission statement when I was an active dealer. Never underestimate people's intelligence, and instead of sometimes overflexing, which the world of YouTube is all about, sometimes people love to see people being humble. So being able to remain humble whilst flexing is a difficult job, but the mark of a professional. Your social media profile was hit the roof. It's been tarnished to a degree. Your reputation as an individual has been brought into question. But watching you resurrect your career or grow it again will be very interesting. And knowing you as I think I do, I think you're capable of doing that. Every single thing that you say from now on will be scrutinized and examined by the world. So it's vital that you get everything right. Committed super haters will never go away, Anthony. They hate you, they hate me, they hate everyone. They probably even hate their own lives. But they aren't the ones whose respect you need to earn. It's actions of the business and the man who runs it which reveals the real person. But from the outside, as a friend that watches you, sometimes you appear to shoot yourself in the foot. Ask for advice, reach out to your peers. So no matter how deep the wounds are for anyone else, I understand that those wounds are deeper for you. And I would imagine that most people get that. You're the one that took the biggest losses. I've got to add that any advice that I give you will be given with the public's best interests at heart. And that's the key, and perhaps something that, you know, has failed to be understood in the past. Putting their best interests at heart is actually putting your own best interests at heart too.
You know, this has been a learning lesson, but it's been what some could say a major setback. I'm not looking at it from the negative. It's a learning lesson. It put some stuff into perspective. It made us think about some new things. It made us actually reconsidering the direction we were going, because we did in a very short period of time frame triple everything we were doing. It did slow our business down for 2 weeks. But what that really did was it put us back at a level we could handle it. Rather than jump from here to here, we're going to baby step it the proper way. We're going to expand and grow as it fits, not with anticipation for it to happen. So there's a lot of positives that will come out of this. I have a badass team and they're busting their ass. We have a lot of stuff planned for the rest of this year. I do promise I will consult before we make any major moves, but we're not going anywhere. Gentlemen Timepieces, the Timepiece Gentlemen, we are here to stay. Marco and I, our partnership is awesome. Our staff, amazing. So you're looking ahead and you're positive. So am I right? You're going to run maybe a smaller, tighter ship from here on in. Yes, we're back. We're here to stay for the long haul. So